welcome to RPG Reanimator's actual play It's Alive, where we'll be playing through Sell Yourself, a Flash Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu scenario. Uh, Please welcome our keeper for the day, Mike Reid of MJR RPG. So, Mike, what is a Flash Cthulhu scenario?
Yeah, just super short. That's the whole idea. Just like a little flash fiction thing. Just short as possible. Ideally an hour, but obviously depends on the keeper. They'll probably go a lot longer, but the idea is to have it be 1 hour.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna aim for that time today, and let's take it away.
July 2008, New York City. So the Great Recession is in full swing. People are losing jobs and homes. But luckily, the four of you, the investigators, or in this case, interviewees, have all found a job, or a job interview, rather. You've exchanged some emails, and the company seems very intrigued by all of you, and you've been invited to a group panel interview. No one likes group interviews, but people are taking what they can get right now. um, so one by one, you make your way to the company's offices, with the company name being Surya Antara Associates. It's they take up one floor on a high rise. So you go up the elevator. You have to get keyed into the office complex, and then at a little waiting room, the receptionist welcomes you in. He hands out drinks if anyone wants them, and then we'll leave you in just a little sitting room. There's a table, a couple chairs. He points out a door on the other side of the room and says, "That's the interview room. The interviewers are in there just finishing up with the last session. They'll give a knock on the door when they're ready for you. Just head right on in then." Just a head notice, the interview can be a little intense, but it's definitely worth it. So just, give it your best. And then the receptionist leaves the four of you in this little room together, waiting in awkward silence.
Ah,
How's it
All
going?
I'll offer my hand to the Holly.
Mm.
Hi, I'm better
Rosa
than you.
Stewart. Okay. And just like turn my back on you. Like, not doing that.
If
Guess
there's
not.
a vent in this room, you see a man seems to be maybe 5'5", a little short, built like a brick shithouse, standing in front of an air vent and is kind of like gripping his prosthetic and massaging it in front of the vent, trying to cool down as quick as possible.
Oh, what happened there, buddy? I'll point directly at the prosthetic.
Something that makes me better than you, I guess.
I'm not so sure about that.
That's great, pal. IED in Kandahar. What have you done for your fucking country?
Hmm. Well, I've made a shit ton of money.
The American dream.
Yeah.
And yet
Yes,
here you
sir.
are in a
Yeah.
pitiful interview with the rest of us. So
I've got a
guess
better
you're not
suit
that
than
much
you.
better.
I raise my hand for a high five for the sharply dressed lady. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like I'm hitting the water cooler like a couple times. There's like a nervous energy about me. Like I keep refilling a cup.
All right. Well, we should probably. This is a bad energy here. Can we all agree that at least this guy pointing at Gary, this guy's probably not gonna cut out. So I think we're gonna look pretty good comparison wise.
I'm just saying I've got the competitive edge that y'all don't.
Great, you can edge yourself right out the door over there, champ.
Huh? Pause.
Look, there's no need for us to get this contentious. Someone's gonna get the job.
I hear there's only
We just need
one slot. So
we just need to make sure that we don't talk over each other. My name's Samuel. Samuel Kim. It's a pleasure.
Marissa Stewart.
wish I could say the same. Gary. Gary Ross.
You look like a Gary.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You, sir?
Sorry, Miguel Garcia.
Well,
Christ.
So,
Are you you're all lawyers too, right?
I was about to ask the same, as Gary doesn't seem like he's seen a lot of combat. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a vet. You're a
Hmm.
lawyer? What,
Yeah.
Sam, what do you do?
Oh, I do corporate IP security.
Uh,
What the job's for?
is that what you heard the job is for?
I was told
There's a
legal
knock on the door.
consultant. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll find out more.
Samuel, go open the door and hold it for the other three.
Mm.
Thank you.
I completely ignore Sam.
Very good. Yeah, so when you go inside the room, it's not a particularly big room, and it's pretty bare. All that's really in there is there's the interviewer's table, 2 chairs behind it with a man and a woman in suits sitting behind it. They're currently looking down and making some notes in some little notebooks they have. Behind them is a big open window. Oh, the sun's shining in behind them. And then there are 4 chairs set out for the 4 of you. But they're not all the same sort of chairs. There are, as I said, 4. And from left to right, the leftmost chair is like a big, comfortable looking lounge chair. Next to that is like a nice swivelly office chair. And next to that is a regular sort of folding chair. It's fine. And then next to that is a kind of dumpy little plastic like lawn chair. The interviewers
Instantly
just keep making
beelining
notes.
to the swivelly office chair.
Very good. Gary makes his way straight to the office chair.
And then I'm going to obnoxiously swivel myself throughout the entire meeting.
Perfect.
Samuel will just kind of gesture, please take your pick. This seems like one of those mind games that people like to play.
What is the lighting situation in the room? If you said the sun's coming in, is there a spot where there would be any shade, or if I could get out of direct sunlight?
Unless you go right in the corner behind the interviewers, no.
You see his eyes kind of look at a chair, dart, and then back again.
There is, though, up on the ceiling, there is a air conditioning vent, which is humming kind of uncomfortably. It's chugging along, but there is a bit of air coming out of that.
Looks like the rest of them can't make quick decisions. I'll say out loud.
The interviewers continue writing up their notes.
Yeah,
I'll
some
just
people
take a
like
seat.
analyzing the situation.
I'll take the
Gary.
little dumpy one.
Yeah.
All right. Miguel takes the dumpy chair, leaving.
Yeah, I guess I'll sit at
Yeah,
the
sit
edge
you.
of the lounge, kind of leaned forward a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Leaving.
And I'm sorry, what was the last chair described?
Stewart gets the just the regular
The folding
folding.
Regular
chair.
old chair. All
Yeah,
right.
like
Yep.
it's
I'll just
cushioned,
take a
but it's
seat.
just like an event chair sort of thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, very good. You sit down, and the interviewers keep making their notes for a few seconds, leaving you sitting there in silence once again.
By this point, I think I may have stopped sweating, and you notice just like that hostile edge is receding just a little bit as the sweat stops beading on my brow.
Would
They keep making notes.
kind of Samuel's also looking at that air conditioning and pushing on the lounge chair. Like, I wonder if I could move this.
I'll I'll stand up and like extend my hand, like Marissa Stewart.
Mm.
Thank you for having me today. Thank you for having all of us today.
There's about 3 seconds of uncomfortable silence. And then they look up. The man smiles and says, "Thank you all for coming today. Sorry about the air conditioner. It's not working super well." And just as he said that, it gives a cough and a burst of hot air bubbles out of it.
No worries. It's summertime. I understand.
Say, well then, could you introduce yourselves, please?
Yes, I'm Ross, Gary Ross, and I'm very interested in your competitive assets analyst position.
The woman
Marissa
makes a few
Stewart.
notes in her book.
Marissa Stewart here for the legal consultant position.
The man makes a few notes.
Sergeant Miguel Garcia, former U.S. Army. I'm here for the refugee outreach position advertised.
The woman makes a note.
I'm Samuel Kim. I'm here for corporate IP security.
The man makes a note.
Yeah,
Are
is there
these-
some kind of mistake here?
I think you're the only mistake here.
I don't appreciate those snide comments, Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take criticism, Gary?
Would
It's
you
not
say
quite
that's a
criticism.
weakness?
Weakness? None. Next question.
The woman looks up from her notes and says, "We are offering one position, one chance to one of you." The man then says, "Do your best."
That makes no sense, I will mutter.
The room is, as you're all a little bit uncomfortable with their annoying answers, the room is heating up a little bit perceptibly. The sunlight is shining directly into all of your eyes over the between the interview's shoulders. And you realize that this interview was supposed to be an hour long, and you're going to be stuck in this room with a faulty air conditioner with the sun beating on your faces for a full hour with these people.
I'll take you know, I'm wearing like a nice suit.
Mhm.
I'll take the jacket off and kind of drape it on the back of my chair.
Very good. Very good.
I start, my knee starts, what do you call it? Like twitching, where like I'm
Mhm.
tapping my foot very
Jumping.
irritatedly. I start unbuttoning my shirt some more and fanning again.
Any
So-
chance we can get a fan in here?
The man says again, "Sorry about the air conditioner. It doesn't work super well at the moment. It's really just letting the hot air from outside more than anything." And as he says that, you get a nice blast of hot air in your face.
So what can we do to speed this interview up?
They look down and start taking notes for a minute, leaving you all to swelter a bit, sweat running down your backs. I'm also going to say that the heat and just this knowledge of how long you're going to be boiling here does cause a SAN roll for everyone that is applicable there.
I assume my sanity
That
is
is a
higher than
fail.
20. Okay.
All
That's
right,
a
so-
fail.
Fail.
All right. So for the succeeding of the two of you, it's still 1 point loss. I'll get to why in a second. For those that failed, it is a D4. Get right off the bat there.
Ooh, that's 4.
Ooh. Ooh.
Beauty, good start.
Can't take the heat. Get out of the office building.
All right.
Yeah, I stand up like, oh, okay, and pacing around the back of the room a bit.
Perfect. Yeah, so for those of you that succeeded, for Stuart and Kim, yes, there is a sweat beating on your foreheads, running down your backs, but probably your compatriots' more extreme reactions at least distracts you from your own discomfort for a moment. But Garcia, your arm, or where your arm used to be, it's starting to sting. You've definitely dealt with this before, so you probably have all sorts of ways to counteract it, but it's not a good time for that to start up right now.
Yeah, I think I will make a show of like rolling the shirt sleeve up to show where the prosthetic meets my arm, and I'm massaging around on it, and just so yeah. Are there any questions or anything that we can ask? As you can tell, I have some issues following my time in the service, and I would greatly appreciate being able to cool off a little bit more.
The man looks down and makes a couple notes.
I'm gonna try and read their notes.
Yeah, go ahead, make a spot hidden roll. Ross, by the way,
Yeah.
your knee is starting to ache pretty badly.
I don't like that. All right, spot hidden. Is it just base because it's not on?
If it's not on there, it's going to be base.
All right, I did fail then,
Okay.
but I will burn some luck.
Gary. Gary.
I rolled a 34. I think
Great.
base is what, 25 or 20 off?
25 sounds about right to me.
Yeah, top of my head. So I'll burn 9 luck to pass
right.
to look at this man's interviewer's notes.
Yeah. Actually, Elsa, you can save the luck because you would have needed a hard success.
All right.
But with pretty close to that, the sun is shining right over their shoulders, making it honestly hard even to look at them, much less their white paper sheets in front of them.
All right.
after they make a few notes, they do look up, and the man then says, "First question," and he looks at Samuel Kim, and he says, "Mr. Kim, what are you afraid will happen if you fail this interview?"
Samuel's kind of like leaned forward a little bit, even more over his knees, and is just looking at them. I suppose the failure of this, I mean, at the moment, I'm a little worried Gary's going to take the job and get it. Um, but I mean, you'd be wasting this position on someone else, frankly.
The man makes a couple notes. The woman then looks at Marissa Stewart and says, "Miss Stewart, why is Miguel Garcia a weaker candidate than you?"
I believe that my long experience working with a large size law firm is what is going to make me the ideal candidate for this. I have a lot of experience with law and working with clients, and I feel like that makes me the better candidate.
She makes a couple notes. The man then looks at Garcia and says, "Mr. Garcia, how do you think Miss Stewart will take failing this interview?"
She seems like a very capable, professional, well-rounded young woman. I'm sure that she will recover very swiftly and begin applying for another position equivalent or better.
Makes a note.
Kind
The
of like
woman-
nodding, like, you know.
The woman then looks at Gary Ross and says, "Mr. Ross, what do you think Mr. Kim is lying about?"
Everything. I think he's an insecure mess. I can see right through him. I've worked with so many people in the past, and it's evident.
Can't hold down a job, Gary.
She makes a note. The man also looks down, and they begin jotting down notes for a few seconds. The AC above you rumbles loudly. It is very loud, actually, to the point for a little while you can't even hear the interviewers' pens on their notepads. Just the air conditioner goes.
I think I probably try to subtly at least maybe pick up the resume that I brought with me and like start fanning myself with it a little bit. Like,
Very good. And you know the machine, it's grumbling in a very sort of rhythmic pattern, almost like maybe like the crashing of waves or the engine of a motorbike or something. Occasionally it sounds maybe like the roar of flames or even like the grilling of a hot dog. It's weird how it just keeps making these sounds at all of you. And just the noise in your ears and the heat. Once again, you're getting extremely uncomfortable. I'm going to ask for a SAN roll from all of you.
oh,
That's another fail. This is really getting to me.
I passed this time.
All right, got two
I
passes, one
passed
failure.
my heat retention roll. Or
How's Holly doing?
no, I failed.
Fail. Okay. So for the failures, we're getting up to a D6 already.
Oh,
For the failures, though, it's still a D3.
yeah, okay.
Something about this.
This one.
I'm rolling well in a certain way. That's 5. So,
Oh, damn. Oh, are you already in a boat?
we're about to see.
Uh-oh.
That is a 99. So no,
Oh my
I'm
lord.
not.
Oh, you
I'm
don't?
too
fumble.
dumb to comprehend
Oh.
whatever that means, but
Yeah,
I'm getting
you-
extremely antsy.
You know, you luckily fumble, I guess.
Very lucky. So on a success, it's a D3.
Yes.
All right. Let's see it.
Um,
Oh, that's a 3.
Just one. Samuel's keeping his
lucky.
cool, although
Losing
he's
my cool.
looking a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, so yeah, just it's you're starting to have your sweat running down your backs, pooling in your armpits. It's staining all of your clothes. The brightness is like starting to spark headaches. The room it stinks like people now. And again, just
Honestly?
that sound is awful. Except Garcia, suddenly, maybe all this discomfort, it's sort of kicking in like, you know, you've had training for being uncomfortable. You're starting to laser in. And even though the air conditioning is making sounds that sound like a burning car under the suns of Kandahar, you're just focusing in, laser focused, putting aside everything.
Oh, okay. I was
Um,
about to say I may be getting so antsy. I'm gonna just be like, "Well, good luck," and try the door.
no,
But
well, yeah, if you want to, you certainly can, but I'm thinking that fumble means you're shutting out everything around you.
but I'm getting extremely
Mhm.
agitated. But I think that I am getting kind of taken back to
Mm,
Kandahar in that way. It's reminding me of the car that blew up
mhm,
next to the IED. And I want to look at the interviewers. Are
mm.
they, I assume that they're wearing like full suits and business wear. Are they
They are indeed.
sweating? Are they bothered by any of this?
How about a psychology roll? They
Uh,
are indeed wearing full-on suits
I got
for sure.
40 in psychology. And I'm not going to spend 40 luck to make that a
Ooh.
pass.
Yeah, I mean, you can always push the roll if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay, how are you pushing the roll? It's kind of hard to see the sunlights in your eyes.
I'm gonna like I'm already pacing around the back of the room seeming agitated and I try to
Mhm.
just look at them. I'm gonna walk up to the table and just get
Mm.
a stare right down on
Mm.
them.
Very good, very good.
And that is a 34.
All right.
Nice.
So yeah, you walk up close to the table, maybe not right up on it. You're still in an interview. You at least have that sense of mind not to assault your potential employers. But you get up real close to them, as far as you can to the table, and they don't look up at you. They just keep on writing, and they don't seem affected by the heat at all. There's no sweat. You can smell the rest of you. You don't smell their body odor. They seem unperturbed, very professional.
If I'm this close, could I glance down? Does it look like they're actually writing words or anything on their papers?
Let's get another spot hidden from there.
Okay. Uh, another 40 and another 33. Or I guess a 33. Yes.
Mm,
Do I need to buy that to a hard?
yes.
I'll go ahead and do that because I'm getting very antsy and want to get out of here. So that would be 13 luck gone.
All right. You look at their paper and they're writing on there for sure with their pens, but there's nothing on the paper. They look up and then say, second round of questions. Mr. Kim,
Hmm.
which one of you is most likely to break down after this interview?
Yeah, his eyes look at Miguel, but there is a sort of cleverness behind him where he again goes and says, I think Gary, honestly, I've met a lot of people like him that talk a big game, but uh they behave like little children when they don't get what they want.
I'm gonna speak over Sam as he's saying that, and he's gonna be, well, look at him. He looked at Miguel first, the obvious answer to this question, and he went straight to me. What does that say? He's keeping stuff from you. He's afraid to say what's on everyone's mind.
And what
The
is
man
that,
makes a couple
Gary?
And I
notes.
think at saying what's on everyone's mind, that's when Miguel's going to pipe in, what the fuck is going on here?
What do you mean?
I'm saying they're not writing anything down. I'm staring right at him and they're just like I imagine they may look up and then back down again. They're not there's nothing on the paper.
Just
They're not
scare
fucking sweating in
tactics.
here.
You're getting rattled.
Well, in the corporate world, there's a lot of weird power dynamics, and you need to be prepared for that.
Looking at everyone's shirts, be like, do you see how drenched we are? They got nothing. Do you think that fucking we're getting interviewed by lizard people? Is lizard people corporate? Don't answer that. Actually, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of here.
The woman
Huh.
says, I'm really sorry about the air conditioner. It's not working super well lately.
I'm gonna head towards the door.
Are there
If
any
you head,
like
if you
like
start heading towards
water?
the door, the man will say, Mr. Garcia, if you leave the room, you will be forfeiting the interview. We would appreciate it if you could stay until the end.
I'm gonna roll POW to see if I can force myself
Go
to
ahead.
stay.
By all means.
That's a 69, which is a
Nice.
fail.
Nice.
All right, cross one off the list.
All right,
Yeah.
you head to the door.
I'm gonna head to the door and try the handle.
All right, yeah. It does open, and you look out, and how about maybe, well, I was going to say, let's do another power roll. This is a different kind of power roll, but another power roll, just as you open up the door.
Okay. And that is a 64. Still a fail.
Okay. Yeah, you open it up, and you're like, well, I guess I'm done this interview. So that's... you can certainly head out the door if you'd like. There is something of a sense that, well, you're losing an opportunity. And there is something about, it's not just a job you suddenly feel, but it is very uncomfortable here. Maybe you just want to go home.
I feel like would my danger sense kind of be spiking a bit here, especially having my back's turned to
So
them.
I like that. Yes, the danger sense is spiking. Weirdly enough, your sort of sixth sense for danger is something in front of you. Down the hallway.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, I was anticipating the door was going to be locked. So the fact that the door is open, but I'm feeling something up ahead, I think I'm going to stay where I'm at. I'm going to stand there and try and watch the hallway.
Yeah, you can just keep looking down the hallway.
Yeah. Is the door open to where I'll close the door?
You go walk and close the door in front of him. All right, then as you're standing up, the woman will look at Stuart and say, Miss Stewart, if Mr. Ross and Mr. Garcia came to a physical confrontation, which one of them would go down first?
Quite honestly, I believe Mr. Ross, because it seems as though Mr. Garcia has served our country, and I'm assuming you're kind of built, right? You sounded like it. Yeah, I would honestly, if I were a betting person, I'd put my money on Mr. Garcia.
She makes a note.
Wouldn't be me. He's disabled.
I'm gonna punch Gary Ross in the mouth, assuming he's close enough to the door. Yeah,
I've closed the door.
Yeah,
okay, great. I'm gonna fucking deck you for that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You can make your rolls, and I imagine Gary Ross is gonna want to dodge or fight back that.
Just a regular success.
All right, Alex, go ahead. Do whatever you want to do.
I'm not going to do anything.
Oh, you just take it?
Nope, I'm just taking it.
All right,
you
then,
sure? Okay.
Do you know how good this is going to make me look?
Yeah, really.
All right. So that's going to be D3 plus a D4. That's 6 damage.
Okay.
As I just cold cock you on the back of the head.
I'm going to roll con to be knocked out or not. No, I succeed.
All right, then.
I
Yeah.
rolled a 59 out of 60.
I still imagine that throws you back quite a ways with a punch. Yeah,
Can
you
I
stumble
throw
back.
myself onto the table?
You can certainly try if that's what you want to do. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious what you're doing. The room's not that small.
Oh no.
Yeah, I want to do that because my sixth sense, I suppose, is saying, something's up with these interviewers. So I'll throw myself onto the table.
Very well.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, you go and throw yourself back. All right, very good.
Actually, no, I'm not the type of person to apologize.
Yeah, you go falling back. So all 4 of you are sitting in the chairs. The interviewer looks up at Garcia. You're sitting in your chair again. And he says, Mr. Garcia, why does Mr. Ross hate you?
Because he's an insecure fuckhead. Next question.
Makes a note. The woman looks at Mr. Ross and says, Mr. Ross, how would you best break down Mr. Garcia?
Oh, I just take his limbs off. Leave him out to rot in the sun.
She makes a note.
Gary, you got a little blood.
I'll wipe it off with my suit.
Yeah. So your faces are starting to sunburn a bit. The AC is wheezing and coughing. The stench is absolutely cloying.
And they had no reaction to this altercation that took place.
What altercation? There is the smell is horrific now. The smell of your body odors. It's almost like the smell of salt water in some of you. It smells burning like like hot asphalt, like smoke and gunpowder. A little bit like hot dogs. It's like burning
was-
meat here and there.
Goddamn hot dog stand.
Yeah. And for some of you, there's this bit of disconnect, maybe, like a brief memory, maybe. How about another sand roll? Especially, I imagine, for some of you that didn't really remember sitting down right now.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
and I'm
is.
pretty
It is
sure I
Miguel's
remembered
bad
Miguel
day.
walking out, which is weird. I failed.
Okay, so for
Something's
the
going on.
few successes here, that is a D4. For the failures, we're up to a D8.
I don't know what my temp
can tell.
threshold is,
5.
I
but
imagine it's gonna go over
I'm
pretty
pretty
soon.
sure that I've hit it by now. I started with
I hit
45.
it as well.
I'm
Okay,
at
then
33.
good. Very good. All right. So for those of you that succeeded, I believe both Holly and Nathan, you both succeeded?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Then yeah, just that just the smells are disgusting. But you're holding it together. You're just focusing on the interviewers. You're ignoring whatever Ross and Garcia are doing or didn't do. It's fine. It's an interview. Just ignore them. Meanwhile, Garcia, the smell of burnt metal, burning rubber, of gunpowder. Maybe in the backgrounds you can hear the snaps of gunshots. And that sun you're looking at is being kind of covered by smoke. You can feel your arm, or what's left of it, bleeding out in the sand. But at the same time, you can see those two interviewers.
By this
Somehow.
point, I would have taken my prosthetic off. Honestly, the pain the irritation is getting too much. It feels like that arm is just bleeding out again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You go to pull
stand.
off the prosthetic, but all you're doing is reaching your hand through the ruined remnants of your arm lying there in the sand.
I'm gonna stand back up, and I'm gonna approach the table to slam my fist down. If I can do that.
Yeah, you can certainly stand up. You walk up to the table, but then you're sitting in that chair again. Or are you in the sand? Are you sitting in the broken seat of your Humvee? Where are you?
What the fuck is going on here?
Ross, as well. I believe, Alex, you said you
Yeah,
you hit
I
your
took
threshold.
5, and I succeeded the intelligence roll.
Okay.
I'm losing it.
Yeah, you're looking at that sun beating down between their shoulders of the interviewers. And you're actually getting a bit of a relief from the heat, as you feel yourself sinking down. Though maybe when Garcia punched you, it did it a bit too hard because you can barely move your arms and legs. They are in horrible pain from the multiple breaks when you fell off that boat. And you're just sinking down. But those two interviews are still across the room, or are they up there looking down at you? They're still there. You're still in this interview.
Feeling kind of funny.
The woman says, "Mr. Kim, yourself, Miss Stewart, Mr. Garcia, and Mr. Ross are carpooling to work. You're late for a meeting. You all run over a cyclist. Who is driving?"
And at this point, like, everyone can see Samuel is very clearly like clutching the fabric of his suit near one of his abs, and he's doubled over and is speaking pained at this point. I think it's pretty clear that Miguel and Gary are having a tough time. Before we continue, I mean, can we get them a glass of water or something? We I understand the need for these theatrics, but I think we need to think about safety here.
She keeps looking up at you and you can see her smile. That's about all you can really make out. She says, "You're free to leave the interview at any time, though we would appreciate if you wait until the end."
Fine. Marissa.
Hmm.
The woman looks to Marissa and says, "Mrs. Stewart, Why did you run over that cyclist?
And I think the idea of like hitting a cyclist is like really very triggering for Marissa, because now she's like, I would never do that. I don't know why Mr. Kim seems to think I would do something like that. That's awful. Why would you think I would do that?
Because you would be driving the car because you're keeping it together. It's not a personal judgment. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I wouldn't hit anybody like that. And you can, like, as she kind of is like rubbing really hard and her bangs move, and you can see a really nasty scar kind of like cuts across her forehead. I would never do anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the interviewer makes a couple notes. The man then looks up and says, "Mr. Garcia, Mr. Kim has brought a knife into work. Between Miss Stewart, yourself, and Mr. Ross, who do you think he will stab first?"
What's the fucking point of these questions?
He makes a few notes. You hear the sound of paper scratching over the sound of your burning Humvee.
Can we leave?
The woman says, "You may leave the interview at any point, though we do
Okay,
appreciate
what is
if you
the
wait
end of
until
the
end."
interview? How do we get to the end of the interview?
The man
Answer the
says,
goddamn
"Only two more
questions."
Yeah, the man says, "2 more questions. Once you answer your question, of course."
Gary Ross.
Uh, the man looks at Mr. Ross and says, "Mr. Ross, how does it feel?"
I feel great.
He makes a note.
You're a shitty liar, Gary.
The man also looks over at Mr. Kim and says, "Why would you stab someone?"
You know, maybe I'm just having a really bad day. Or maybe I just was on a fuck up. I don't know. I don't know why someone would do that. All right. Next question. Let's keep it moving.
He makes a note. The woman then looks up at Gary and says, "Mr. Ross, the 4 of you were on a life raft that was too small for all of you. Why did the other 3 choose to throw you overboard?" You hear the interviewers say from up above the water, looking down at you as you sink.
Because they know I'm the biggest threat to them. And they have to work together to take me down.
The woman looks up at Miss Stewart. Says, "Miss Stewart, how did it feel as you were pushing Mr. Ross into the water?"
You know, honestly, it felt good. It felt good. You got to get rid of the dead weight. You keep with you the people that bring the most value to your team, and you get rid of the dead weight. I'm sorry. Could we maybe conduct this interview?
Oh, she's
I know this is a
sorry.
little bit, unorthodox, but maybe we could bring our chairs over to your side of the table. The sun is just really coming through quite strongly over here. You know, and without even asking, I think I'm like getting up and like picking my chair up, and I'm going to sit over here. I hope you don't mind. I know this is a little bit unorthodox, but
Yeah.
it's just very warm.
Very good. Yeah, you can pick up your chair. You walk over to one of the shaded corners. You put your chair down. You sit down. You put your chair down, right alongside the other 2, in a line with the other 4, facing the window. It's pretty hot where you are.
It's still pretty hot.
Yeah,
Oh.
and you're right in front of the interviewers again.
Well, that worked out for you, huh?
They both look down, make a couple notes, and then
Shut up, Jack.
the interviewer, the man, looks up at Mr. Kim and says, "Mr. Kim, of the 4 of you, which is least deserving of a second chance?"
Least deserving of a second chance. I mean, what is I don't know how to judge that. I mean, it's easy for us to shit on Gary because he seems like a piece of shit, but I mean, maybe a second chance, like he'd make better. I don't. You can't ask that kind of question. Like,
He
I,
just did answer it.
fine, fuck you, Gary. We're. Am I blanking? And he's turning to the others. You keep moving when I'm not looking. I think the heat's getting to me.
Could you make a sand roll as you consciously notice this?
Succeeds. So I'm just,
Very good.
yeah, there's something about the heat. I'm probably like the pain in my abdomen and the headache I'm getting. Just
Yeah, it's
fucking
you
hot dog.
pass. It's still a D4 loss just for trying to see
Okay,
what's
there
going
we
on.
go. 4. Now we're cooking. Hot
There we
dogs.
go. We're cooking hot dogs. Very good. Are you still within your threshold? Are
I
you
am
okay?
still, because that's 20% or 10%.
It's a
So if
fifth,
you
yeah.
remember.
20%.
It's a fifth. Okay, yeah, then I'm still barely good.
Very good. Look at Kim. Kim's holding on. Yeah, something again, just for a minute, your head really aches as you're trying to like piece together where everyone's sitting, because they seem to keep moving around, but they're all still sitting there.
Yeah, he's just at this point
yeah.
straight up head between knees, nausea pose with doubled over.
Yeah, you're maybe gagging a bit in this. That taste of hot dogs is in the back of your throat.
No.
I'll point at him and say, weak.
just a hand raises up.
The man makes a few notes, and then the woman looks up at Marissa and says, "Miss Stewart, which of the four of you is least deserving of a second chance?"
I thought we already answered that. I think Mr. Kim answered that question. Yes. I think I would have to agree with Mr. Kim's assessment. I think second chances are for people who are entirely redeemable, and I don't find Mr. Ross redeemable in any way, shape, or form.
She makes a note. The man looks up at Miguel, says, "Mr. Garcia, which of you is least deserving of a second chance?"
Gary Ross. Okay, that's 2 questions. Can we get the fuck out of here? I'm like clutching my head and arm and just groaning. I think I'm just relapsing in full PTSD.
Yep. Yep. It's rough. You're sitting there watching yourself bleed out while also being grilled by these two weirdos. It's very uncomfortable. You also don't want your first moments interview. It's hard to tell, but being next to Gary Ross is not a good way to go out. The woman then looks up at Gary and says, "Mr. Ross, which of the four of you is least deserving of a second chance?"
Ooh, this is a tough one. But I'm gonna go for the sleeper pick. I'm gonna point directly at the woman that's asking the interviews.
She smiles and makes a note. They keep making notes for a little bit, and then the two of them stand up together.
I'll stand up as well. Like, all right, we're on the road here. Let's go.
They say, "Mr. Ross, Mr. Garcia, thank you very much for your time. You may leave now."
Well,
Without
guess that's
hesitating,
that. I leave.
scrambling for the door.
All right, Gary Ross and Mr. Garcia go through the door. The two of them then look at Samuel Kim and Marissa Stewart. They say, "Miss Stewart, Mr. Kim, thank you very much for your time."
Thank you for your time. I think maybe I'm probably feel like I'm being dismissed. Is it when could we maybe expect to hear back as I'm walking to the door?
Say, "Thank you very much for your time."
Samuel's still like bent over, so he's just like talking to the ground at this point. I'm like, are you kidding me? Is
I
it
think I'd
because
maybe
we called out your stupid power games? What would have made us successful in this fucking venture?
Thank you for your time.
Fucking garbage.
Come on, Samuel. Let's.
He has to lever himself out, and he's holding his side as he kind of slow walks into the other room.
All right, so you begin walking out. Holly, you said Marissa walked out?
Yeah. Maybe if I see Samuel doesn't look too good, I might maybe kind of give him an arm or like some kind of support, kind of help him. But yeah, I'm headed out the door with him.
All right, the door is pretty narrow. Who's going out first?
I'll go out.
Probably Miguel.
Well, yeah, you two are long gone.
Oh, we're gone? All right.
You two scrambled out of there.
See you.
I'll head out first.
All right. Then Samuel Kim. Yeah. Marissa helps you a ways to the door, and then she heads out the door, and she's just gone as soon as she heads out that door. And then the two people behind you, just as you're about to step out, say, "Congratulations, Mr. Kim."
Great.
And if you look back, they're holding out their hands to shake your hand.
And he hobbles back over and shakes their hand, sweating profusely.
Yeah. Their hands are nice and cool. And they say, "Thank you very much for your time. We have decided to offer you this chance with Surya and Tara."
I hope your first day is a little bit more and he can't, like, he's just completely blanking, like the words are failing him. Just I'm falling back onto old habits, I guess. Yes. Great. When do I start?
Immediately. And the sun behind them grows brighter and brighter. I'm going to switch over to, I believe Miguel Garcia was the first to leave the room, so let's go with you. Yeah, you went out that door, and then there's just the roar of fire and screams of the dying growing ever so slightly muted around you. You can feel your body, not just your arm. You're entirely broken beyond repair. Your body is just as twisted as the vehicle you're riding in. And really, it's just the broken metal of this Humvee around you that's keeping you together. The sun above is slowly growing dark through the oily black smoke. What's the last thought that goes through Garcia's head?
I didn't make it out after all.
And then the sun goes dark. I believe the next one that left was Gary Ross. Yeah, you went through that door, and you stop struggling. Your broken limbs are just trailing above you as you fall further away from the surface. Salt water pours into your nose and mouth, floods your lungs. The sun is just shimmering above those waves, but it's just going darker and darker. What's the last thing Gary Ross thinks?
Yeah, this can't be happening. I'm a winner.
I'm a winner, he thinks before the cold embrace of death takes him. Marissa Stewart, you helped Samuel Kim to the door and then went through just a step ahead of him. And then you just feel the asphalt burning your skin, the stench of exhaust and blood thick around you. You hear sirens blaring in the distance, but they're not going to make it to you in time. You just stare at that bright sun above you, over reflecting off your smashed bike. But it's getting darker. What's the last thing Stewart thinks?
Think about my family, my wife, my kids, and the last time I was actually happy.
And then it goes dark. Meanwhile, Samuel Kim, you're standing on that sidewalk. There's that hot dog stall. It's grilling up some hot dogs. And then the perp, your target, just that little weasel that you weren't expecting anything from. He comes at you with a knife, but just before it sinks into you, your partner shoves you out of the way and it goes straight into his throat. Your partner falls to the ground, bleeding horribly, dying, but you're able to apprehend the perp.
I mean, I think Samuel just pulls out his gun and shoots the guy in the head.
There you go. Yeah,
straight
you
up.
can certainly do that. I'm not going to ask for a roll. You just
Make
do
him
that.
fall onto the hot dog griller.
Yeah. So as you hear that gurgling of your dying partner, the grilling of the perp, and the smell of hot dogs and suspect in your nose. And then you just hear those interviewers' voices. And they just said, we expect good things from you, Mr. Kim. And what is the last thing Mr. Kim thinks before he carries on with his life?
I think he's in the moment running for his partner, like holding his throat shut, and he just leans down close to him and goes, "Stay in the room. Just stay in the room, whatever it takes. Stay in the room," as the light's leaving this guy's eyes.
Perfect. Perfect. And that's the end.
Ooh,
There you go.
nice.
5
Super
minutes within an
interesting.
hour. Got it.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
time.
And time.
It was very Death Parade
Death Parade.
If
I'm
you
not
haven't watched,
sure
it's a
what-
really good anime that's
Okay.
kind of basically
Death Parade.
people's souls are sent to this lounge to play some games or something and decide who gets reincarnated and who goes to hell. They don't know that they're dead until like halfway through.
That sounds pretty much exactly it then. Yeah. There you go.
Any
Oh, this
background
is
to give us
great.
on it? Any like story? The
Any
story, you know.
background. Yeah, it's mostly just all the ones up until this one that I was doing were more or less normal. Like there's a spooky monster, it's gonna get you, sort of scenario. So I wanted to do one that had no physical danger.
It's interesting.
Is it
I like
like
it.
the last one who leaves the room?
It's basically the last
Yeah,
one who
alright, I
leaves the
figured.
room, but there's a point system going on in the background.
Oh,
So whoever
fun.
has the most points, they'll just win. And they'll
Interesting.
ask the
Oh,
others
I
to
like
leave.
Just
that.
be an awful person and lose.
You were winning until the end. It's
fun.
whoever is the most selfish and awful gets a point for being awful and putting themselves ahead.
Ah.
But at the end, it's who doesn't deserve a choice. They chop off points whoever gets named. So
Oh, okay.
And we
That's
all
funny.
named you.
Yeah. So they cut off your lead.
The strategy
but,
didn't work.
Yeah. But in the
Off to
end,
hell.
Holly and Nathan's characters had equal, so they just wanted to see
Whoever,
who would leave
Yeah.
first between the two of you.
What would have happened if I had assaulted the interviewers? Because boy, howdy, I was about to do that.
Probably
Yeah,
regret
that's-
not.
to be honest.
Yeah,
Fair.
it would have same thing that happened with Alex's character. You just find yourself back in the chair. Very annoying. Very, very annoying.
Oh, I really like the setting and the vibe of this, of just like a sweltering interview room is really it's a really good setting for just something like this.
Yeah, group interviews are awful, so I wanted to make that a scenario because no one likes them. Have you
you
guys
wrote
ever
this
done a
yourself?
group interview? Yes. Yeah.
Nice. I really liked this.
That was
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun.
I've never had to do group interview, but it sounds absolutely awful.
Yep. They're just a
Oh,
nightmare.
Sickening.
Yes. Just sickening.
So this is part of your Flash Cthulhu season 1 bundle, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can get that on Drive Through RPG if you're so inclined and enjoyed this. Who's your cover artist for these?
This is all Linus Larson, who
Very
is
nice.
amazing. He's working within a very tight budget, basically, for these ones, and he's still doing just a fantastic job. He did the covers for like the bigger things I did, which have color and are beautiful.
Nice.
So I wish I had more to give so that all of these could have full-on painted covers, but what he's doing with these are lovely.
Yeah, the Sell Yourself cover with the two interviewees and the lines behind him make a lot more sense now.
No, he's great. I just give him a vague idea and he comes up with very good stuff.
That's great.
Very nice. Thank you for running.
Yes,
Thank you all for playing.
And where can we find more of your stuff?
Yeah, so if you just Drive Through RPG has all the stuff I wrote, or I have a little blog, MJR RPG. Google that, you'll find it, where I write some reviews and whatnot. I think you can listen to it too, but you don't want to listen to my voice. You can read it instead.
That's nice that you're giving the options there.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, in that case, thanks for joining us for a Flash Cthulhu. It's alive. We hope to see you again. Bye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check out the RPG Reanimators podcast for horror scenario reviews, interviews, gaming discussions, and more.